You know that feeling, right? When you decide to learn a new language, you're all fired up, you're ready to go, and then you hit a wall. And that wall is vocabulary, just thousands and thousands of new words. It feels like you're trying to climb this massive mountain, but nobody gave you a map.
So what do? What's the best way to actually tackle something that big? How do you learn? And this is the important part. How do you remember 4,000 new words?
Okay, let's just let that number sink in for a second. 4,000. That's a huge number. It's the kind of number that can take you from just getting by to speaking with real actual confidence. But here's the thing. A list of 4,000 words, that's just a list. It's not a plan. So today, we're going to deconstruct a system that's designed to turn that mountain of words into something you can actually climb.
We're calling this the 4,000-word challenge because, let's be honest, that's what it feels like. And the guide we're going to use to tackle it, well, it's not some dusty old textbook. Think of it more like a blueprint, a step-by-step plan for getting it done.
And here it is. This is the book we're going to break down, 4,000 Essential English Words. Now take a look at the cover. See those puzzle pieces? That's not just some random design. It's actually the whole idea behind the book. It's not about just throwing words at you. It's about showing you how they all fit together.
So how does this thing actually work? Let's decode the method, because there's a real science to the way it's all put together.
First thing you have to know is the guy who wrote it, Paul Nation. He's a professor of applied linguistics, which basically means his entire career is about figuring out the best ways for people to learn a language, especially vocabulary. So this isn't just a random list of words he thought were important. It's a system built on decades of research into how our brains are wired to learn.
And the core idea is, well, it's kind of brilliant. It focuses on what they call essential words. These are the words that show up all the time in everyday conversations, in books, on websites. It's all about getting the biggest bang for your buck by learning the words you're going to use constantly, right from the start. That way you're building a solid foundation you can actually use immediately.
So how do we learn them? Well, it's not the old way of just staring at flashcards for hours on end, rote memorization. Our brains, they're just not built to remember thousands of isolated random facts. They're built for stories. They're built for connection. So instead of a word being this abstract thing, you see it in context, you see how it relates to other words. The meaning isn't just defined for you, it's demonstrated. And that makes it so much easier to remember.
And that brings us to the book's secret weapon, learning through stories. Because the best way to give a word context isn't just one little example sentence, it's a whole narrative. Let's take a look at how this actually makes words unforgettable.
Okay, so here are the puzzle pieces for the very first unit. You've got words like afraid, agree, clever, cruel, promise, trick. Right now they're just a list. They're just pieces sitting on the table. But now let's watch what happens when we start putting them together.
And boom, instantly we get a story. A cruel lion lived in the forest. See what just happened? The word cruel isn't just a definition on a page anymore. It's attached to this lion. You can picture him. The word suddenly has a character, a feeling. It's come to life.
And here's the payoff. After you read the short story, you get a sentence like this. Now, what does clever mean? What does trick mean? You don't have to guess, right? You know exactly what they mean because you just read the story where the rabbit outsmarted the lion. The story does all the heavy lifting for you, and it makes the meaning stick.
But look, seeing the words in a story is great, but it's only half the battle. How do you make sure those words actually get locked into your long-term memory? Well, the system has an answer for that, too.
After every single story, you get a page that looks something like this, some simple comprehension questions. Now, you might look at that and think, oh, it's just a quiz. But what's happening here from a learning perspective, it is absolutely crucial.
This is what shifts your brain from just passively reading to actively recalling the information. See, when you're reading the story, you're absorbing the words. But when you have to answer a question, you're forced to reach into your own brain and pull that word out to use it. That process, that retrieval, that's what builds the strong connections in your brain that make you remember. So when you put this all together, what you really have is a simple but super effective blueprint for learning. It really just boils down to these 3 steps. Step 1, you look at the new target words. Step 2, you read the story and see them all in action. And step 3, you test yourself to make sure you can actually use them. And the best part is, it's a cycle. You just rinse and repeat for every single unit in the book. So the real magic of a book like this isn't the list of words. Anyone can make a list. The real power is in the system.
It's a complete learning loop that takes you from seeing a word to understanding it in context to using it yourself. It's a method that's actually based on how we learn.
And that leaves us with one final thought. Okay, this system is designed for vocabulary, but the principle behind it can be used for anything. The idea of taking a huge, complex topic, breaking it down into small, manageable pieces, and then learning those pieces through stories and context, well, that's universal. So the question isn't really just about English. It's what else could you master, one simple story at a time?